Greetings everyone and welcome back. In the previous video, we saw how we could browse the employee photo and change it and also remove it. In this video, we're going to submit the data to our server. So what we're going to start in creating the route that's going to send our data to the server. And here I'm going to have a new route, and it's gonna be a post verb route. So we're just going to say it's a post, and I really don't need all these, just need a simple function, simple post route. So here I'm going to call this route will be post employee, and it's gonna be in employee controller, of course, not model, employee controller. And the method in the controller itself, it's going to be the same as the URL. So I'm just going to pass the same, and I'm also going to give this one a name. I'll be referring it with a name, and the name it's also gonna be the same. All right, so like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to my controller here, and I'm going to add a new function here. Actually, let me just add it here as the first method of my controller class, and I'll say it's gonna be public method, no worries, and gonna call it employee, post employee. And for now, I'm just going to have the traditional request object, and I'm gonna have it as just a request like that. All right. Okay, so that is the method done. So let's go ahead and see how we're going to send this employee data to our server using Ajax. So I'll go back to my employee list file here, and I'm gonna scroll down until here. And what I can do here, I can listen for the click event. Just going to push all the other content to the button. And here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to listen for the post employee button click. If you remember, we gave the save button here. This button save employee, it has a class of save employee, which is this one. So I'm gonna copy that, and I'm just going to listen. I'm not going to take this function to the uh, app.js because it's typical for this file. If we need to use this functionality somewhere else, then at that time we could just scoop it from here and take the more general application JavaScript file. But for now, I'm just going to write the functionality here for demonstration purposes. So, okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm going to target this class. In this class, it's a button that we're going to click where we want to save our employee data, and I'm going to listen for an event. And this event, it's actually just a click. And when this button is clicked, what I'm just going to do, I'm going to have a closure here, and it's just going to have that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just prevent default of any buttons that I don't want this button to do something else. other than what we're just going to define here. All right, and what I'm going to do here, I'm going to define my form data. So I'm just going to say form data. It's going to be a new instance of JavaScript form data. So form data, this guy here, I'm just going to initialize my form data because I want to now fill this form data with the information of the employee that we already have. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to append all my data here. So I'm gonna say form data, and I'll append. The first one is name, and as you remember, the ID for the name input is just name, and what we want here is the value. So what we want from here is the value, like that. And now I'm just going to duplicate this for the others. The second one is email, and sure will be email as our ID. I'm gonna have phone, and it's gonna be phone. And I'm not going to worry about the status or the gender of the employee for now. I am only going to worry about the photo. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say let the employee photo, so employee photo be equal to, I'm gonna say document get, I'm going to say get element by ID. I'm going to use the vanilla JavaScript, and the ID it's going to be the employee photo, like that. And then what I want here is the first file in this input. Just going to take the first one. And now what I can do, I'm going to append the employee photo. Okay, it's employee photo. I'm going to append here is the input name that's going to our server. And here I'm just going to pass in the employee photo that we created just now, like that. And then I have all my form input that I wanted. You could just append them as an array, but for now I'm just going to pass one by one for learning purposes. Otherwise, you could just create an object of array of objects here, then pass it down to the Ajax function. But for now, I'm just going to pass it like that. You could improve it if you wanted, but what I want you to know is how to validate your data. So after that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make an Ajax call to the server. And here I'll have my Ajax properties. First of all is the URL. And the URL that I'm gonna use is I'm gonna use the root name of the URL that we just created, and it's called the post employee. That will be our URL. And then I'm going also to have the type of this endpoint or this verb will be a post because we are pushing data to our server. And I'm going to do something else. I'm gonna say process data, and this one I'm going to have it process data, and this one I'm going to have it as false. And another one is the content type. Content type, which also I'm going to pass false. And this is an object, should be a comma here. And that is it. And finally, I'm going to have my data object, which is just going to be the form data that we created, like that. So after that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say we're gonna have a success function. If we get a success, then I'll have function here where we're going to get our response from the server, like that. And then also if we have an error, then we're going to come here. We're also going to have a function, and also it's going to have a response, like that. Great. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to try to simulate this. So on click, going to call this. So let me go to my application and try to reload. I'll bring in the console, and then I'll go to network. I'll bring in the employee model. I'll try to send the data. It's not going, so it means we could probably have a problem. Cannot access form data before initialization. Form data is was the new form data, right? And this is case sensitive, should be form data, like that. All right, so let's go back to the application and try to reload the application again. Let's go to the console and see if there is any worries. I'll bring in the model. I'll try to click the save employee button. Is not a function again, and get element by ID. Get element by ID. Again, it's a case sensitive. You could use the jQuery to get that ID instead of using the vanilla JavaScript, by just thought to use the vanilla JavaScript. So let me go ahead and try to click there again. And okay, so I'm going to have this, and I try to send this 0 again, and this one should be files for This one should be false. All right, let me reload again and bring in the file image again. And now we have the action being sent. As you can see, we have the um, a call being made to the server. So it's being rejected due to cross-site resource forgery. We don't have a token, and that's why it's being rejected by the server. All right, so let's go ahead and take care of the resource cross-resource forgery. And the way we're going to do that, I'm going to my um, master blade, this one. I'm going to set this one there so that every time we don't need to set it on per page basis. I will set it globally here. All right. Okay, so let me go ahead and here, inside here, I'm just going to create another meta property. So say meta, and the name of this meta is going to be the cross site resource forgery, like that, and I'm going to pass it as a token. So this will be the name of this meta, and the content of the meta will be a valid token. So I'm going to have token. So it's going to be a valid token, like that. And now I'm just going to close this meta like that, right? And then I'm going back to the JavaScript here, and here immediately after the DOM is ready, I'm going to have the Ajax set up for the headers here. So I'm going to have Ajax set up, and what I'm going to set here is the headers. And here what I'm going to do is I'll start by the so case sensitive, so CSRF, and we have token like that. And then this is going to be the same as I'm going to reference the meta that we just created on our head part of the HTML. So I'm gonna say meta, and now I'm referencing the meta with this name, and the name is the one we just gave right now. So it's cross SCSRF token, this one, and this is the name that we just gave to our meta. And here we're going to take the attribute. If we remember, we have the attribute content, and that's what we are going to take for the header on every Ajax post request that we're going to send to the server, so that we're not going to be denied access to the server resources. All right, so I'm gonna save that. I'll go back to my browser here. I'll bring in the console. I'll bring in the console so that we can inspect our network here. And I'm going to bring in the employee model again. And here I'm going to just try to send this. And still we are getting the same. So we should have some mismatch somewhere. Let me try to reload the browser, and I'm going to send the call again. I use the employee model here. I try to send the call again, and we're still getting the same token mismatch, meaning that we have something not working correctly. We have to go back and check it. And here we have the Ajax setup, and we have a small ZX here. So let me just say I have, I'm going to change that one to capital X. I'm going back, reload the application again, reload the browser again. I'll bring in my model. I'll just clear the network console for now. I'll send again, and still we've not solved that problem. Let me just inspect my meta. It's that name. This is the name. Cross and we don't have the RF here. We have cross-site resource forgery. So it's cross-site resource forgery. CSRF cross-site resource forgery. I think I mistyped this one. Right now we have cross-site resource forgery correctly written, and here it should be cross-site resource forgery. We don't have the extra R that I had already put there, and this one it's not token, it's token cross-site resource forgery. Let me just see if I have it correct here. And yeah, this one is token as well. All right, let's save that. Sorry. Let's save that, and I'll go back to the browser one more time. I'm trying to set the calls on my entry level, which is the master blade. I don't want to set it per page, so I want to set it just there, and that will have it for every page that we're gonna use. All right. Okay. So seems still. So let me check if I have maybe a problem in my JavaScript, and here I think I have a small problem. Right, saying unexpected token, which is this one here. I guess it's an object and should be like this. So I'm going to reload the application again and see if we have the same error. We don't have it right now. I try to send the same request again to the server, and we should get different response now. Yeah, now we're not getting the calls error or cross resource forgery error anymore, meaning that our calls have been now set correctly. Right, now we can start validating our data in the next video. We're going to stop here in this video, and when we come back in the next video, we're going to write the validation logic. Thank you very much for being with me on this one. I'll see you in the next one.